We also have a restoration crew on site, so they'll be prepping the road for asphalt paving. Week 2 of our schedule, which would be getting the Broad intersection ready and bringing that up to Dakota. Right now we're planning on paving the Broad Street intersection in week 3 of our 3-week look-at schedule. And then, of course, we got some electrical work going on behind it with the signal at Broad Street and the lighting system from Broad on up towards Franklin and Fulton. So that's our 3-week look at.
Yeah, that paving at Broad Street, for just a reference, that is the day after Memorial, just so you kind of get that picture in your mind that a couple days after Memorial would be the paving days in that Broad Street intersection.
The contractor has indicated it'd just be the paving in that intersection, so the mainline paving, they've said, is going to wait until they got more ready going west from there. So we want to get that intersection open up as soon as we can, once following up the underground here. So. Got anything to add, Corey, that you from last week?
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as the turning movements, we updated that map, but it's strictly just a date revision. All movements on 61 and the side streets there, those stay the same as last week. Traffic control should be the same, so just.
Yeah, and we had a few concerns from council last night. One being at OS Main, as you come into town, the left turners, or on Main Street, turning onto OS Main, the arrows are not lit at that intersection. Do you know if there's a reason why they shut the arrows off? Because the left turn lane doesn't have a dedicated turn. And I watched it for 4 sequences this morning. I sat in that old car wash parking lot and watched it. They never come on at all. So, and one of the concern from the council member was that that lane is pretty short, that left turn lane, and if you stack up 4 cars, they're going to be backing up all of Main Street coming into town. So it's something just to check with Kyle.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to MnDOT traffic.
And find out if they can put at least, you know, I don't know if a little bit of a green there, or why they didn't want to put that arrow live.
Yeah, be burned out bulb.
Yeah, and it could be that it got shut down because if I remember correctly, before construction, that left turn was only, it was an actuated left turn, wasn't it? It was a loop detector in there. And of course, now with the lane shifted, they're not over a loop anymore. And
they probably disconnected.
They probably turned that loop detector off, in essence, turn that left turn arrow off. So if we were going to get it back running, we'd have to actually just dedicate some time to that left, you know, a short amount of time, but it would mean stopping, you know, through traffic on 61 to do that.
Yeah.
How I've seen it function is people that are in that lane will pull up and wait until a red is on 61 the other direction, and they'll scoot off onto Old West Main before Old West Main clears. But
yeah, I know with the temporary signal, they've got a dedicated left where they can go and the other opposing traffic doesn't.
And that's completely on a phase. There's no actuation to that. That runs every time at Fulton, or excuse me, at Franklin Street. There's a left for both directions through every phase. So
I just think it might be something that Kyle should look at from MnDOT.
That won't be the case anymore on Franklin because they have the video detection set up.
Oh, so now they're detecting actual vehicle in that left.
MnDOT is working on that, establishing that video connection at that intersection. So basically, the left turn is only going to be visible
when there's somebody ready.
Somebody there.
Okay.
Someone to use that left turn lane.
As opposed to the system that we've had over since the system's been up.
Yeah.
Where we've just run it on a time basis.
Is Kyle in town today?
Kyle is on site today, specifically doing that.
We should talk to him.
We should talk to him then right after this.
Yeah, I'll touch base with him.
Down at Old West Main.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the plan. There is a video detection for the left turn at Old West Main. On
there is one
61.
called out?
Yep.
So then it could be
What-
actuated by video.
It wasn't this morning.
No, there's a detection area designated. The cameras they haven't been installed yet. Today's
Oh.
the first day they haven't installed. So we've just been having timing on Franklin, and I'm guessing likewise at Old West Main, because the cameras haven't been furnished yet.
Okay.
So Egan's there today installing cameras at Egan, so now
Oh, so that,
61 will only be interrupted when you actually have left turners.
That's better.
Perfect.
I like that better than adding
Yep,
phase
that's-
time.
And then
That's
likewise, there's a detection for left turn at Old West Main. I'd imagine the camera came then for that signal as well,
okay.
which would be implemented likewise with the Franklin.
Okay, so then I had a couple other concerns. One was at the temporary signal, do we allow right turns on red? And I'm assuming yes, because we don't have any signs up say no right turns. And I looked at that this morning too, and it looks like everything's got clear visibility, so I see no problems with just letting that function normally with people turning right. And then another concern was a question more so, should we be putting a four-way stop at 4th and Franklin, since that's our signal down on Main? And I looked at that this morning. I'd like you, Corey, to look at 2 and J. I went up there this morning, and obviously there's no cars parked along 4th Street. As you come up Franklin, you have I had a real clear shot or vision both ways, and I don't think we should be stopping 4th Street because that's like a 56-foot wide street. It would be hard to put stop signs up. It's been a thoroughfare forever without stop anywhere along 4th. I'm thinking that with our signs down on 3rd, we should be funneling people along 3rd Street because that's where all of our signs for the businesses are.
And there is a four-way stop.
And there is a four-way stop.
Third
yeah.
and Franklin. Yeah.
And we will be putting it in at Fulton and Fulton and 3rd too when we move this temporary signal over.
Yeah.
So
let's
So
talk
just
about
take a
that.
look at that, if you would too, Corey, and just get back to us. But I thought, when I looked at it, no, we should not be stopping 4th Street.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. The intent of our signing is to direct travelers to 3rd Street.
Yeah,
And then, I think one could argue that the 4th Street in Franklin is technically receiving no more traffic than they are in the existing state,
yeah, and if somebody does want to go all the way up to 4th and turn left into town, they could go down 3rd, get to West Avenue, go up, and then they've got to always stop to
Right.
turn left into town. So that was my thinking, that it really shouldn't be one there, but I'd like you guys'
Yeah.
opinion on that.
Let's look at it. And as we've talked, Ron, any of these other stop sign changes that are kind of happening off of the project into these neighborhoods, we're not expecting that as part of safety signs or our contractors. That would be a city operation, that if we decide to do that, I mean, we may be doing it well away from this project on other routes, on Pioneer Road and different, as we've experienced different traffic patterns. So those things would be handled by us through city operations.
Just let us know if we need to help.
Yep. I'll let you know if there's anything that we need from safety signs. We'll definitely work with them. Any questions from the audience? What's going on? Where we're at with things?
I'm hearing some water concerns from businesses with the temporary water system of the levels of the Taste of the Coronation.
Okay.
Is there, I know there's.
Who did you hear?
Period of flushing and such, but.
Yeah.
Just wondering if that's gonna, if it flushes for a while and then it gets better again, or.
Did you hear more concerns besides at Randy's?
I did
That's the
not.
one I've heard about, but,
Quick Trip and Freedom.
And
Okay.
Sakura, the Japanese restaurant.
yeah, I hadn't heard
I think
any of
they're hooked
those.
up
so-
on temporary water yet, are they? They are? Okay. I know at Randy's, we rerouted the water to go through the water softener. No?
No, just, we rerouted it to go through the pressure regulator.
Okay.
But we are, tomorrow, we're gonna put our coffee and pop machine through a charcoal filter.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had one in the building that we didn't use, but one time the pressure was so high, it blew the filters off. So we kind of bypassed it temporarily, we're gonna rehook that up tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So,
Well, the procedure for hooking up the temporary water is the same as it is for really any water main in the city. It's flushed and then it's chlorinated, and then there's a bacteria test that's run on it. And after that bacteria test is run on it, it's standard city water, so it should be the same as regular city water.
Jerry, do you have
Yeah,
I would just maybe encourage you
Jerry,
to, everybody to run
Jerry.
more water than you normally would.
push your butt.
I think,
It should be better, I mean, especially when we get a little bit hotter in the summer here, that water is gonna sit in that black pipe, it'll heat up a little bit, and if you feel a little change in temperature or taste, I would just run an outside hose bib or anything, just run quite a bit of water to keep it freshened up. That should help somewhat as we get going here.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
I was gonna say, I know that's, I think like you're saying, when it sits overnight in the piping, the first water comes out in the morning, it's stronger flavored than, and I don't know what the flavor is, it's sort of like chlorine, but by the time it's flavored into pop or coffee, it has a totally unique flavor. It just isn't, it's different, and that's the reaction. It tastes bad because it's different, so,
It's different than, yeah.
yeah, I know.
Well, it's in a different conveyance pipe, so that, I mean, we're in a plastic water main versus our iron pipe.
Sometimes with water, you'll get a little chlorine taste. Actually, if the chlorine residual drops down a little bit, you'll taste the chlorine a little bit more. Doesn't seem to make sense, but that's kind of how water reacts. So sometimes that, when it freshens up, that might, be a little better.
What is the new water line running down the street, is that plastic too?
No,
No, the new one will be ductile iron. Yeah.
It's what?
Ductile iron, like we have.
Iron,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it'd be an iron pipe,
Okay.
yeah.
Jerry, it's pretty common too, I mean, just so people aren't worried, it's, like Ryan mentioned, it's not the chlorine that people are tasting, it's actually the plastic from the hose, what they're tasting. Not that it can harm you or anything like that, it's just like if you have a hose sitting outside your house, been sitting on the sun all day, you turn it on and drink out of it, you can taste that, whatever the taste is, but it's not chlorine, it's not gonna harm anybody. Like Jerry said, I would just suggest, if you get that taste, especially in the mornings, right off the bat, or in the afternoons when things heat up, just keep water running.
just run a hose out in the alley.
yeah, and not to encourage water wasting, but the idea with the temporary water is no one's being metered on this, so,
Yeah.
it's not like you're getting charged back for our recommending you to flush it, but just do what you have to do in that if you need to clean it out.
Yeah. We should probably make a point to visit those businesses and talk to them about that directly, Corey.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And as part of the temp water hookup, we are delivering a notice now with some emergency contact numbers. So we're not asking you if it's not getting better, if it's to a point where, it's unbearable, please make a call and we'll address it. We're not asking you to ignore it per se, but we have, gotten some complaints and.
And we've had some issues with the pressures and fittings coming loose, and I believe you guys are installing pressure regulators
Yeah, we
this
got
week,
pressure reducing
today.
valves coming down this afternoon. We'll put those in.
Yep. So over the weekend, Meyer kept a worker on site here to respond to calls from businesses. So that was appreciated that someone was here to take care of with the higher pressure on these fittings. We're having a blow off at the connection. Anything else to add? Any other questions? I know Tom had have you been updated on what we found out about the preemptive, the devices on the signals?
It's not equipped for preemptive.
It is not, yep. Did you talk to him then, or do you want to go?
I didn't speak with you, but I talked to a gentleman at the fire department. So and I guess some of this you can weigh in too, Jay. So what we determined is they're not equipped with preemptive. The Franklin intersection isn't. Did some research. I think it can be equipped with preemptive. There's a cabinet there, and with some wiring, we can certainly outfit that signal. There's arguably, it's unknown what the benefit may be because of the restricted lanes already. The only benefit we would see is it actually would turn it green so cars could clear out in front of you. But as far as them being able to get over or anything like that, there is no space for them. And then also it was communicated that as far as emergency, you guys have been using 4th Street and then coming on Franklin if you need to, coming up Franklin, and preemptive wouldn't be installed on Franklin, it'd just be the through of 61. So I think the benefit is somewhat limited. The ability to do it is certainly there. And so I think
And there'd be an extra cost to have.
there likely would be some extra cost, not substantial likely, but some cost, and so.
I think we're comfortable utilizing the side streets, which
Okay.
feeds additionally into the not installing an additional stop sign on
Sure.
4th Street thoroughfare.
Sure.
That
And-
becoming our primary route.
Okay.
And then to be clear, you know, all the existing signals, they still have it, of course. It just literally is this Franklin one. So Broad Street still does once that's back live, and then
And
likewise
Old West Main does as well.
So it's
Yep.
literally just this middle one, but
The two middle ones and only one's on right now, but
Yeah, Franklin or
they'll be in the
Fulton.
same category of not having that preemptive.
For now, I think we're
Okay.
adapting and overcoming.
All right, thank you, thank you. Anything else? Everyone adapting to walking down to Bush Street to get across 61 and,
You still have some people.
I know, I saw it last night when I went to
A
the,
bunch of kids on skateboards yesterday.
yeah. It's such a short crossing that it's inviting just to kind of run over and get into those barrels and be able to avoid the little extra half a block of walk. And I see it happening. And that's what I had said when we closed it, that, or, you know, when we had it open and the question was, well, why don't you just close it? Well, I hate to see people crossing when there isn't any control. But we're trying to encourage them to go down, and you can only do so much signing, and the detour route, I think, is marked well, and
We did
Yep.
place a sign in the Y lobby as well, stating, you know, please don't cross, you know, don't jump the barricades.
Yeah.
Go to Bush.
go to Bush, yeah,
Try and get them to do that route, but.
yeah, yeah. There's a few that aren't obeying, but that's gonna happen.
yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.